All right, welcome back to another episode of Screen the Screener. I'm Steve Mensch. Tyler Besman's the one with the horrible sunburn. The small one with the sunburn, that's Tyler. The other one's Virgie, the ginger, Virgie, Matt Solso. On the other side of me, ready for another episode here. Let's rip. Ty, I was going to just wallow in my Brad Marchand misery, but I'll wait a minute to do it. So you can give us your quote-unquote horrible Haliburton take?
Oh.
Was it horrible? Yeah. What do you mean, oh?
It was...
Dude, you have Maine brain right now. Just so everyone knows, Tyler was in Maine for the weekend, drinking and falling asleep on the beach, apparently. And now we're going to ask him to form sentences, and we'll see how it goes.
So I thought you were going to go the route of Devers.
We'll get to Devers. We'll
get to Devers.
I thought the Jason Tatum pod was going to be a low point for us. I don't know. Today might be it. I don't know.
It could be.
I don't know.
It could be. But no, what I was saying with the Haliburton take is that it might be a little bit disrespectful. I won't lie. My biggest thing watching that game last night is play through that injury. Like, suck it up and play through that injury. There are points where there'll be a minute and a half left in the game. They're not in foul trouble. Go play that minute and a half. Like, you are one of the most elite point guards when it comes to assists. Get your team going. Like, we don't need you to drive to the rack. Like, start moving the ball, because their offense just kept turning the ball over, and they just couldn't get any sort of stride going. So, sort of my disrespectful take towards Haliburton was play through the injury, dude. We've seen multiple players do it and help their team in a lot of ways, and he, for some reason, just couldn't really grow the balls to do it.
Well, okay. They were coming in hot now. Now we're talking.
That's what I'm saying. He had an ice pack on his leg in the first quarter. Like, if your injury is that bad, stay in the locker room. Like, we don't need you on the bench and, like, I'll come in and play when I want to
come and play. Bro?
Yeah, with an ice pack on his leg, and he's just sitting on the bench with his warm-up on. Like, that's not rah-rah-rah. Like, that doesn't do anything.
You would rather him pull the Paul Pierce where he gets taken off in a wheelchair and then comes back 10 minutes later?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 1,000%.
Dude, I love Paul Pierce. He's one of my favorite Boston athletes of all time. That is ridiculous what happened in that game.
Yes.
And like, they basically brought him back from the dead in the back, and he comes running out, dude. It was ridiculous.
And now, knowing what he's like makes it even better, too, where, like, when he was talking about how he was going to walk all the way from his condo to the studio if the Celtics lost, and he actually did it, just goes to show the type of guy that Paul Pierce is, so it makes it even better.
Oh, my God. I have two thoughts on this. Matt, first of all, do you have a thought on this about players playing hurt? I mean, like...
Well, it depends, really, because... You know, like, I think if you're hurt and you're on the bench, I think stand there. Like, Larry Bird used to lay on the ground because his back was so bad and still, like, cheer on the team and everything. So I think
and he'd still go back and play, though. He was not out. Like, that was when he was, taken out to sit for a minute. That's when he would do that. Yeah.
If you're able to play. If you're not, then don't. 70% of Haliburton's better than no percent of Haliburton, or 100% of a bench player. So I kind of look at it that way. I mean, I'm also skewed by hockey, where short of a punctured, a punctured lung, you're playing. You
might play with a punctured lung, man.
So Did
Bergeron play with a punctured lung?
He was diagnosed with a punctured lung after Game 6 of the 13 playoffs against the Blackhawks, when Tuukka gave up 2 goals in the third period to lose.
Oh, late third. It
was brutal. Very brutal.
It was stunning. I could not believe what I had just seen. Like, it just turned off the TV and we're like, it's over. It's over. So I think you're right. If you watch hockey and you pay attention to what these guys play through, it is horrifying. To the point where I think hockey's almost got it wrong, where I'm like, maybe we don't play. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have a family.
They have head injury things that they like. If you got a head injury, you're not playing. Which this is the right
now
thing
they
to
do. Right? Yeah. But, now they do.
That's why it's the hardest cup trophy to win in sports.
And it's ultimately up to the player and the medical staff, and it's what they do. And I will say that's the one thing I hesitate about, is that we don't know what we don't know, right? It's being reported as a calf strain, and he's going to get an MRI. Yeah. If it's a calf strain and he's getting an MRI, come on, man. I mean, Aaron Gordon in the second round had like a grade 19 hamstring pull. The man could not walk, let alone run, and he was just gutting it out for the Nuggets. I mean, that was tough to watch. So I understand what you're saying. If it's a calf strain, figure it out, bro. Like get out there. And no one's asking him to score 40. No one's saying he should be out there going and scoring 40. But you got to be able to, like, this is the finals, man. It's the finals.
And I
feel like this has happened with other players too. Like Donovan Mitchell also sits out a game, but somehow is able to play in the next game in the round that they lost to Indiana. Like, how are you able to? Like, you just needed an extra night of rest. And maybe it comes down to, and we said this is one of the things we talked about way early on in this pod is I thought the two words that were going to ruin the NBA were load management. And maybe this is a part of load management. They're not used to the grind. And if you were taking less games off and like preparing your body in that way, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Probably the exact opposite is true. But just in my mind, that's what I'm thinking is that if you play less games, if you don't not work as hard as in you're lazy, but work as hard as, take more shifts. You know what I mean? Like, when you're on the job, you're working super hard. No one's saying that. But if you're taking days off from the job, you're not working as hard as you were the year before, is what I'm saying. So I wonder if that comes into play with that. I agree with you. I don't think it's that terrible of a take. I mean, you're a bad person, but not really because of this.
I have like two things to that. Just to touch upon the hockey point with this is basketball players play a unique sport where, kind of like at the beginning of my take, where you don't need to go out there and score 40. You don't need to play the most unreal defense. You don't need to grab a bunch of rebounds. You are the point guard and the star player and the leader of this team. You play a unique position where you can just keep the ball moving. You don't need to be this unreal player. I mean, especially because of his height and his length. Like, it's not like we're talking about Isaiah Thomas, who's 5'8". Like, if he's injured, he's a liability. He's pretty much a liability just being that short. But, like, with Haliburton being that leader and that presence, even you felt it when he was on the court, even if he didn't even touch the ball. Like, him just being out there and that presence was good for his team. The other piece as well with...
Hold on. I'm kind of surprised it doesn't make you mad, though. This is your sport.
No, it makes me mad.
You're not really mad about it.
Me.
Are you mad about it? Because you're not coming across as mad. You're kind of coming across as like... And this is a bigger indictment on the NBA. You're kind of like shrugging and being like, yep, not surprised. And not necessarily, again, not necessarily Haliburton. Like, you're just, this is not surprising that this is happening. Like, players sit out games in the playoffs, and it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So,
it's
I don't know.
Also, the second piece of that, too, where, like, I really do believe load management is I mean, everybody should believe that is a problem, but it's because we play so many games in the regular season.
Figure it out.
Get to this point in the playoffs with injuries. But my other piece where, and this is a stretch, but there has to be a mental aspect of this, especially with Haliburton, who hasn't been in the finals, where mentally going through the playoffs and going through the season, especially where they weren't a very good team going into 2025, it was after the All-Star break where they started playing well. Then they get into the playoffs and they start playing well. But mentally, they were just, I want to get to the finals. I want to get to the finals. I want to get to the finals. They get to the finals. Now he gets a little banged up, and he's like, I checked pretty much every box. And so I feel like for him mentally, he could be going through it right now, where this injury is kind of a scapegoat, especially if they lose. Now they lose to OKC. I was banged up. Like, now I'm going to come out hot next year. I'm pissed because we lost. I'm pissed because I wasn't healthy. And now it's an excuse.
I think Donovan Mitchell's done that. I feel like he's done that.
He's done that time.
There's no way of knowing, and it's terrible to speculate, but we're terrible, so we'll speculate. It feels like maybe that's the thing. By the way, before we got on this pod, we were setting up our cameras, and I asked Tyler to lower his camera so there'd be less dead space above his head. If this keeps going the way it is, we're only going to see like his hairline by the end of the show. I'm just saying, take some notes, bro. We're trying to get this thing off the ground.
I'm
looking at your. I was looking at your ceiling 10 seconds ago. Okay.
I'm trying.
Was that your other tip? We were gonna say that.
I was gonna say, what I don't understand is that, I would argue that hockey is a more physical and more physically demanding sport.
Is there an argument there?
1,000%.
I don't even think that's an argument.
Okay, and so for sure, premier basketball players are playing 40 minutes a game, 42 minutes a game. Premier hockey players are only playing 20 minutes a game. So I get it; that's twice as much playing. But when you're on the ice, you're not. When you're on the ice, you're moving. You're not like standing around. You're not walking down the floor on every possession. So what I don't understand is why basketball players feel the need to take breaks or I've got a calf strain. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't play. No,
I love you.
Like, I don't understand.
I don't know why they need to take breaks. I'm paying you to play basketball, bro.
The ironic thing is,
that, though.
Kim gets pissed that the shifts only last 40 seconds in the NHL. She's like, "Why are they tired?" Like,
what?
It drives me crazy.
Try doing that.
So she would agree she would argue that hockey players, don't take too many breaks. The shifts.
I went to the Pacers the box score from last night to see if there was. By the way, we taped this on Tuesday. Comes out on Wednesday, just so you guys have an idea of when we're looking at all this stuff. But I looked at the box score from last night to see if they do minutes. They don't. So they don't have minutes for how many minutes these guys play. I'm sure or I should say this. I'm on ESPN. I'm sure one of these other analytics sites has it. Yeah. But they don't. I'm wondering, Ty, see if you can look it up to see what these guys play a night in terms of minutes in the playoffs. I'm sure some of them are playing the majority of the minutes, but still, hockey's wild, man. You are getting murdered on every shift. You're hurt. Some of the guys they do for the basketball players.
Yeah.
So what did SGA play last night?
They're trying to tell me that Haliburton played 36 minutes last night.
Maybe he did.
Oh, sorry. Game 4. That is what an idiot.
Yeah. How many minutes are? It's 48 minutes in a game, right?
Right.
Yep.
So I've got 30. According to NBA.com, Haliburton played 34 minutes last night.
34 minutes.
Crazy to me.
What did SGA play though? Because that's a player that's. This is great podcasting. This is what you want to do, boys.
SGA played 38 minutes, and so SGA played 38 minutes, and then their second star played 35, Jalen Williams. So
Jalen Williams is sitting a full quarter. Quarter. And that's not a knock on Jalen. Listen, this is not a knock on Jalen Williams, not a knock on SGA. It's not necessarily a knock on Haliburton, but this is what we're talking about. I don't understand.
I think
you're not going to play 42 minutes though. That's bad basketball if you have your player doing 40. Even 38 is a stretch. That was a knock when the Celtics, I think a couple years ago, where we had Tatum, Brown, and Horford playing 38 minutes. Yeah, you really don't want that, especially in the NBA where you have depth along the bench. If I have Alex Caruso coming off the bench who's hot and ready to roll, who's going to play lockdown defense, you don't want someone that's been playing 40 minutes to be locked up against him. Even though it's different from hockey and other sports, it still is going to have a lot of wear and tear on the body as the time goes on, where you get to the fourth quarter where you want to make sure that you're at the most healthiest. So I would say if you're going to do a rotation,
you're probably right.
Have them ready to roll, where I would sit my star players at the end of the first, the beginning of the second, and the beginning of the third, and then I'm playing the rest of the game.
That's common, also right? That's the common rotation, right?
I would say so, yeah. But
yeah.
I'm no.
I feel like all the stars get the 10-minute mark or the 2-minute mark, whatever you're looking at in the first quarter, they get subbed out.
Yeah.
And it's not I'm not trying to disrespect what they do. It's not the same as hockey, but it also is very physical. You have to be very athletically gifted. You have to be
It's more explosive. You're doing explosive moves. It's a lot more cutting and things like that. It's not as fluid as hockey is.
And when it's right, we do a lot of, I think, criticizing of the NBA. When it's right, it's awesome.
Yeah.
When basketball is right, it's awesome. It's so much fun to watch. The Celtics.
And don't get me wrong, this is a great series.
So much fun.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I will say this. I mean, the Pacers are cooked now, right? Though
it's what it seems like. Yeah,
it looks
OKC
like that.
is hot right now, but we'll see how it goes in Indiana.
I'm going to give you a Indiana player that I would love to see in a Celtics uniform one day, not named Nembhard. Who do you think I'm going to say?
Not named Nembhard.
McConnell. TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell.
Really? Okay.
Dude, do you know what he scored? What his line was last night?
I'm looking at it right now. The 18 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. He actually set a record. It was, I think it was 5 steals and 5 assists within one game
in
coming
the
off
game
the
that
bench.
they won. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's an insane stat line, and honestly, that's got Celtics basketball written all over it.
Yes,
so I love it.
And he knows his role too.
Right.
Like he went out and scored 18. He's not looking like, oh, I should be playing more minutes. He's like, I'll score 18.
Right.
I'll get 5 steals. I'll do whatever I have to do for that game. And he's just, I don't know, man. I know he's getting older, but I mean, if you could find a role for him, and he somehow ended up in the Celtics uniform, and he's been a pain in the ass for years.
Yeah.
Every team he's been on, every time he's bounced around, he's just, you know, he had an interview where he said he's made an NBA career out of effort, and he really has. It's all effort. He talked about how his thing was picking up guys 3/4 court or full court, and guys were like, no, dude, no one does that in the NBA, and he was like, I do that. He's like, I'm going to do that, and that's going to be my calling.
So why don't everybody, like, if you had a team of everybody who did that constantly, wouldn't they just dominate all the time? Wouldn't they just dominate all the time? Because everybody else would be like, this is so annoying that I have to try all the time.
So I think
that Arkansas team,
exactly
40 minutes
right.
of hell, college teams do it. I haven't seen pro teams do it, but go ahead.
So the biggest issue, and this might be a hot take, I do not believe.
Stop saying it might be a hot take and just come in hot and mad and angry.
I think some people will agree with me, but I think they'll be pissed off that they agree with me. Star players in the league, and I mean, I'm not talking like they make the All-Star team and just those star players. I'm talking 1 through 25 best players in the league do not want to play on a team like that unless they're Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are drafted into that and told this is how we play basketball. If you want to play basketball here, like, that's how it's going to be. If you don't, then all right, see you later. Like, we'll ship you off. I think it's rare to find that, but star players, they don't want to do that. They're about they basically know what gets them into the Hall of Fame, and that is, unfortunately, in the NBA, points. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 years ago, assist, rebound, like Dennis Rodman is making the Hall of Fame back then. He's not making it now. He's being told, like, man, that is a hustle guy. Like, you want that guy on your team. He's annoying if he's not on your team.
Ben Wallace from the Pistons, I feel like it was the last dude who was that. I mean, maybe Andre Drummond, but he also had a little bit more of a physical offensive game.
He's annoying, but even Draymond. I mean, Draymond for his first few years, like, scored pretty well, so that kind of helped him. But Draymond might be the last guy that's
you're right. Draymond's
genuinely
he's in that family.
The Hall of Fame. Yeah, so like.
And he should, by the way. Draymond Green should make the Hall of Fame.
Definitely. He has all those rings. Like, he deserves it, even though I can't stand the guy. But
yeah. Love the basketball player. Can't stand I can't. It's funny. I love the basketball player. Can't stand the guy, the way he acts on the court. And then off the court, I think he says some great things, man.
Yeah. No,
like he's a complicated dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody would want to play for me as an NBA coach because I'd be full court press all 48 minutes.
Oh, my God.
That's why nobody wants to play for Tibbs either.
You wouldn't get out of camp, Matt. There would be like a triple.
There's no limit on there's no limit on substitutions, right?
No.
Correct.
So I would just have a bench full of people that are highly conditioned and just rotate them out like hockey. Like, just rotate them out and just have a constant, or like having a defensive line where you can just rotate guys in constantly and have fresh legs.
Are you listening, Knicks? You may have your next head coach.
I know, and so I was going to say that because I'm pretty sure the average for the Knicks is going to be 38, 39 minutes with Tibbs, and so I think
I was going to say that.
Matt and Tibbs are like boys.
Thibodeau's like, so gets it.
Yeah, and now he's gonna take Tibbs' job in New York now.
All right. It feels like it's a foregone conclusion. We'll talk about this Thunder team. I'm glad if they win it. I don't want to jinx it. By the way, everything I touch, it just turns to poop.
It's very true.
Jinx it, dude. Jinx it.
I jinx it. So I'm happy the Thunder are going to win this one. But I really do think it's for that market. It's pretty cool for Oklahoma City to get one. I think is pretty cool. That team is young. They're exciting. They're talented.
Yep.
Obviously, Jalen Williams going for 40 last night. They have guys. I mean, they're the best team in the league this year.
Yeah,
and maybe
the CBA is coming for them, though. I will say that.
And I love how everyone's
it's coming for them.
Everyone wants to, and they did it with the Celtics last year, and I loved it, so I get it. But everyone wants to make the team that wins the dynasty, and we'll see. Like it's so many things have to happen for you to be a dynasty, and it's just to already like ordain these guys as like they have 3 or 4 is crazy. But I am glad they're going to get this one if they do.
Yeah, I agree.
And we'll talk about it at some point. Not next week, because next week we get a big show. Next week we get a special
Teaser.
guest.
Yeah.
We're not hiding any of it. We're gonna have my friend, our friend, former ESPN draft analyst and current Ringer draft analyst Tom McShay's gonna come on. We're gonna do a movie review for the absolute dumpster fire that is draft day. I cannot wait to just vent, because I have had for years. I don't want to get into this too much. I should leave a little bit. I don't want to give away too much. But for years, I have had friends text me the day of the draft. I wouldn't even say text me, bombard me with texts about pancakes and draft picks and Vontae Mack. I think we have to watch it again. I think it's Vontae Mack.
Bo Callahan.
Bo Callahan. Just hey, Mitch, how many people went to this guy's birthday party? I can't
That's a
wait
great line.
to get into it. So we're gonna have Todd on next week. Really looking forward. He has a story about the movie that I think will be good. So that's gonna be coming next week. In terms of the rest of this show, which way we're in a fork in the road. Which way you guys want to go first? Neither
US
one
Open.
is fun. No. The U.S. Open is the cherry on the top. The U.S. Open is how we end optimistically.
Okay.
I think. By the way, that could take a turn for negative town too. By the way, but we'll get that in a second. Do we want to go Devers, or do we want to go the fact that when this pod comes out tomorrow morning, I think Brad Marchand will be the Conn Smythe award winner for the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals. What do you want to do?
Devers.
Let's do Devers.
Yeah, we can do Devers. Yeah.
Get into it, Ty. Good, bad, indifferent.
It's absolutely awful, and I mean, I'll say this, and Hank on Part of My Take said a similar thing, and I was like, it's so true. When the Red Sox let go of Mookie was when I was like, I'm good. Like I don't.
This
I could care
This isn't
less
as
what you guys
bad.
do.
This isn't as bad if Mookie Betts is still in a Red Sox uniform.
1,000%, because he is our
Or
franchise
Xander
guy.
Bogaerts.
Yeah.
Or Xander Bogaerts, and so that's where, like, when I went to school, just for whoever is listening to this that hasn't listened to it for the last 30 episodes, I went to Emmanuel in Boston, and when I went there, I was like, I'm gonna start paying attention to the Red Sox, and so I tried my best. I worked security there, and loved it. Loved watching Mookie, and then we let him go, and I was like, done with this organization. Xander Bogaerts gone, done with this organization. Devers gone, done with this organization. And the worst part about
Chris Sale.
it is
Chris Sale
too.
is a Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, insane. And then rumors are going around where we might give Duran straight up for Chris Sale. Just an absolute dumpster fire. And it just goes to show that the ownership could care less about the players, could care less about the fans.
Well, you've heard about this? You heard about the conspiracy theory, right?
What, that they're just trying to make sure that everything looks great on an Excel doc, and that's pretty much it?
No,
because that's it. That's all they care about.
The people that own the Red Sox are called the Fenway Sports Group. You know this?
Yes.
They also own
and
like
LeBron
50,
is a part owner.
They own like 50. Okay, here we go. Okay,
It's true.
Now we're really gonna. It's LeBron screwing the Boston fans. We're gonna go down this
racist.
rabbit hole. Okay, all right. You know, I had a decent point. Oh, here we go. I got it back. So the conspiracy theory is that they own a bunch of teams, and one of the teams they own is Liverpool, and Liverpool just signed a $200 million midfielder.
Yep.
And maybe they were clearing the books of that money to go out and get it. I'm not into that. What I will say that's fascinating about this is the Red Sox have a history of smearing guys on the way out. They did it to Francona most notably. Like there were some negative stories that came out of the Boston Press about Terry Francona that were just unnecessary. Like it just didn't have to happen. But I will say the way the press is covering this is very interesting because some of the national press is acting like Boston's a mess, and Breslow, the chief operating officer, the player, whatever his name is, basically the GM, doesn't know what he's doing. And some of the stories, like I'm reading it, and I'm like, well, so like there was a guy who was there since 2007 maybe, and at the end of one of the Zooms, he thought it'd end, and he's like, thanks for nothing, or thanks, Brez, you effing stiff. And then they fired him. And they're like, well, he's a guy who's, an important part of the organization, and they fired him for that. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not saying you should get fired or you definitely need to get fired, but people get fired for that. When you're in like a multi-billion-dollar or $1 million, whatever it is, organization, and you call out your boss publicly at the end of a Zoom, you can get canned for that. That's like a fireable offense. I'm not saying it has to happen every time, but dude, don't act like that's a bad sign. Well, it's a bad sign that when you have people in your building that are saying that about you, and you find out about it, they go, they gotta go. And I hear it seems like a lot of the old guard, a lot of the old people who have been in the organization for a long time don't like what Breslow's doing, and so now they're like kind of butthurt about it. And they're acting like he doesn't know what to do, and now and they're not getting as much say in as much say or pull. Yeah, that's how life works, bro. There's a new guy in town. There's a new GM. If you don't like it, you can get out. If you want to be that guy, then get the job. Otherwise, that's life, man. We have all had different bosses. I know for a fact that I'm not going to try and sell out Matt, but he's like some bosses more than other bosses. He loves his boss right now. His boss right now is amazing. But in the past, you've had bosses that you don't love. You figure it out, dude. You don't go sitting around there and calling them a stiff on a Zoom call and then act like it's their fault you're getting fired. That stuff's crazy. And then to hear... Go ahead.
I was going to say the Devers side of things of all of this when it comes to the media, because the media is definitely smearing the crap out of Breslow. But what it's also doing with Devers, and this is where it's just classic sports media. I don't think I see it I don't pay enough attention to the NHL to really say for that, but I feel like the NFL doesn't do it as much as the NBA and the MLB does. But now it's coming out about how all the way back when Devers wasn't happy about when they brought in completely blanked.
Alex Bregman.
Alex Bregman, when they brought in Bregman, exact same position, and they asked him how would you feel about being a DH, and he was like, I play third base. And that got blown out of proportion, and they were like, he's not a team player.
It wasn't blown out of proportion. Dude, that's not blown out of proportion.
It's not great, but I could care less about that. But it keeps going, where supposedly then from there, when our first baseman goes down, Christian Campbell steps up and is like, hey, especially being a young guy, and
this is wild.
Where he goes, hey, I'll play first base. Teach me how to play first base. I'll do anything to stay on the Red Sox, essentially. And Devers was pissed about that. And then the other piece as well is that David Ortiz came out saying, and this is very weird.
This is a big part of it, man.
And honestly, this, I hate to say it, made me feel a little bit better because I'm going to ride or die with Ortiz no matter what.
Yeah.
The guy's a man. He gave us all these rings. He could tell me that I should start rooting for the San Francisco Giants now, and I might do it.
Well, here's the other thing. This is what I would also say about Ortiz. I think Ortiz... This is important when you look at Ortiz. I think he will almost always take the side of the player over an organization.
Yes.
I really do believe that. And in this situation, he's not.
Right. And then
go ahead.
Basically what he was saying is that he reached out to Devers throughout Devers' career, being like, whatever you need, I got you. And essentially, when he first came in, it was similar to where we are with Roman Anthony and Marcelo and Christian Campbell, where it's are they going to be the franchise guy? Are they going to be the future? And it ended up being Devers being the future. And so as it started to creep towards that, Ortiz was like, hey, these are different ways of how to be mature with your contracts or with the team, or that sucks, but you kind of have to suck it up. You got to be mature. And so trying to be essentially a mentor to him, and even David Ortiz came out being not everything was rainbow and sunshine when I was in Boston.
No.
I had to learn and grow and
that is
become
well
mature.
known. Yes.
Yeah, and even with the ownership with Ortiz, it was pretty cutthroat. We saw some dudes. I remember back with Nomar. When Nomar got cut, people were pissed. I mean, I was 3 years old. You guys were more around for that. But
I was 7.
Lies. but that's where that's the sort of organization that Ortiz was brought up in, where it is pretty cutthroat, and so he dealt with some pretty messed up stuff that was happening that maybe the fans weren't happy with. And he tried to share that with Devers, and Devers never reached back out and kind of told him to go screw.
Did you see the Jared Duran stuff? They were asking Jared Duran about it, and he was like, "Well, I was
no,
surprised."
I actually didn't. I missed that.
He got off the plane. He was like, "I was kind of surprised because I saw him off the plane, and I was like, wow, they traded him, wow." And they were like, "Well, what did you guys talk about on the plane?" He's like, "Oh, I nap on the plane." We didn't really talk about. I was like, dude, they wanted this guy gone.
Yeah.
Another important piece about this, and a guy I went to high school with, Matt Peralt, who has, oh man, I think it's Boston versus the Book is his pod. It's really good, and I think he made this point where Bregman came in, was buying suits for players.
Yeah.
It was like, this is what you need to do. Like the locker room was a mess. That's one of the reasons why they brought Bregman in, to teach these young guys of like, here's a suit. This is how you're supposed to look when you travel. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself when you're representing the organization. Not being like a old man like dick about it. Like being like, and they asked him, they're like, well, why are you doing that? He was like, because when I was in Houston, this is what the veterans did for me, and it made a big difference in my career. I really believe that, so I want to do it for the other guys that I play with. So he's doing that. And then you look at the guys you brought up, right? Campbell, Anthony, Marcelo. They have 3 very talented young players. And you have now a guy in the locker room who's refusing to take ground balls. And he is the head of your... He's maybe probably the most talented. He's definitely the most talented hitter, maybe the best player on your roster. You have these 3 young players coming in, and their leader, the guy that they're going to look at, is saying... It's not that easy to switch positions, and was asked to do it twice. He was asked to do it in spring training, and then he was asked to do it again after an injury, and refused both times, even after the owner flew to them and said, hey, we gave you the biggest deal in Red Sox organization history. Like, go get some grounders, bro. Like, go take some grounders right now. And then refused to do it. To me, gotta go. And I hate it, but I do like, one of the things I do like is the San Francisco took all the money. They didn't.
Yeah,
this isn't.
huge.
We have to pay 20% of Rafi's salary, which one I can't remember. What was the Panda's name? The like chunky third baseman who played
Sandoval.
Pablo Sandoval, right? Which I think we traded. I think we traded him back to the Giants and had to pay some of his salary. I think that's right. It was like, this doesn't seem right. This seems bad. But he never worked out. But like, at least all that money's gone. All that money's off the books now. So theoretically, and we'll see what they do. I don't trust you. Listen, I get it. You don't trust the organization. I get it. But 100%. But I think there's 2 things that are happening here. One is everyone's still mad about Mookie, and they absolutely should be mad about Mookie.
That was awful.
And 2, he had to go. Like, I thought he had to go after spring training. I really did. I thought at that point he had to go. And this team, I'm sorry, but you have to do it. They're in playoff position now. We'll see what happens. There was another point I had, but I can't remember it now. But for what it's worth, he had to go. I wish they got more than a bag of balls for him. But go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. Could there be 2 villains in this scenario? Both the organization and Devers? Because I'm full on with you, Steve. You're getting paid $300 million a year. I don't care if I tell you to go pick up shag balls. You're going to go do it because you're getting paid $300 million a year.
Right.
And as long as I'm not jeopardizing your career, I'm not asking you to go out and be a starter and pitcher when you've never pitched before. Go to the first base. Not to mention, we're extending your career, right? We're going to give you more experience. You're going to get more opportunities maybe later on. So I agree with you. They should have gotten rid of him. What I don't understand is the timing.
Yeah,
I do.
He had to walk off against the Yanks.
But I don't even care about that. I care about the fact that you got to wait to see what other teams are desperate and who's going to give you something a lot better than what you got. Because he is a top 10 hitter, and that contract may seem huge, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not an albatross contract.
Yeah. I don't know who. The rumor was that they put it out there that they were willing to trade him, but they weren't gonna. They're not. If they didn't get a trade partner, they weren't going to do it. So that's interesting. I wonder if this was the best deal that they got. I don't know. The conspiracy theory about the timing, or the thought about the timing, is apparently they're on the road now. They're not back for 20 days. And that way Breslow doesn't have to deal with the fans. Like, we'll get to see a little bit of the team without, all the media being in the building, all of that stuff. That's weak if that's the case. I just think that's weak. But
it just goes to the point that the organization is the villain as well. Because they just did not handle this well at all from the get-go. No. They didn't handle it when they were like, hey, we want you to change positions. They didn't handle it well from a communication standpoint. It sounds like there's no communication between Breslow and Alex Cora. And if there is, they're not speaking the same language. And that's a huge issue. If you don't have a cohesive communication from top to bottom, then you're going to have issues.
Yeah. And I think that I say this because it's true for me. I know it's true for me. Every time I think about the fact that they didn't find a way to keep Mookie, it makes me angry. Like, how do you
Well,
not find a way
It's
to keep
embarrassing.
Mookie? It's embarrassing. It's angering. And maybe Mookie didn't want to be here, and there was rumors of that.
He
and
said
all
that I think he said recently that he wanted to. So
it was money. It came down to money. They didn't want to pay him.
No, I know, right?
Right.
They have to pay him, and I think they're.
Why do they care? It's stupid. Just pay the man. Like,
It's
MVP,
so bad.
like it is crazy to me.
But it's
crazy.
the Mookie stuff. It really is a hangover for Mookie because I think Devers is really good. Don't get me wrong; he's an awesome hitter. He's not Mookie Betts.
He's
I
not.
don't feel.
No.
I don't feel.
He's
I
not
don't
even
feel as
Xander
bad about that
Bogaerts.
one. They need pitching, man. They need pitching. And
They
if
do.
these three young guys work out, and you have Bregman, and you get some pitchers, all of a sudden you're in a really good spot. They're Breslow said this. He's like, I wouldn't be surprised if we win more games than we would have with Devers. And they were dancing around the whole thing. You could tell. They had a press conference. They at least did that. They at least went out there and explained what they were doing, why they decided to do it, and all of that stuff. So good on them for that, even though some of the answers were wild of like, this may not have been the best deal, but it was the right deal.
I didn't like the fact that it was like 48 hours after the deal. Like, if you're going to make a deal like that, you got to be in front of people within 8 hours, 12 hours.
I do. I agree with that too. So, I mean, a little bit of credit, but that even could have been handled better. But again, it's a hangover for Mookie. That's really what it is. And if you're not going to be a team player, and it's the same thing that relates to that scout too. If you're not going to be a part of the direction that we're going in now, and it might be the wrong direction, that's not really for you to say. Like the organization now has a vision of what they want to do, and either you're on board or you're not. And if you're not, see you later. I don't think it ever works for an organization to be like, for someone to come in and be like, well, this is really what I wanted to do, but now Aaron Rodgers is here, so we're going to do this or we're going to do that, or we're dealing with some other player like that, so now we're going to do it his way to adjust to him. No, like you all got to be going. That's why a team like the Lions with Jared Goff at quarterback and Dan Campbell, everyone, myself included, were like, how's this going to work, man? This guy's talking about biting kneecaps. But the reality is he had convinced everyone that this was the way to do it, and everyone got on board. And it's amazing what can happen when you do that. When you're not, it's the Nobar trade, man. When you go back and you watch those documentaries and they talk about Nobar getting traded and how bad it was in the locker room and how uncomfortable it was, and the whole thing had happened with A-Rod in the offseason, and Kevin Millar was on SportsCenter talking about how he wanted A-Rod instead of Nomar. Like, something had to break. Something had to give. So, hopefully the Red Sox now win the World Series.
I do have a couple things to say, and I'll make them quick so we can get them.
No, go.
So, with Breslow, he started as the chief baseball officer in 2023. So, with that, and with the whole aspect of kind of what you're saying, when biting kneecaps and everything, what I feel like I've been seeing with this team specifically, especially with players like Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony, and Marcelo Meyer, is they've been playing multiple positions. Like Roman Anthony, for example, the other day was sat, and it was like, why? Then the next day he comes out,
that's the other
and
thing
he
I
hits
want to
his
bring up.
first
I'm glad
homer.
you said this.
And so what I am seeing from Breslow, and I think this is like his first hiccup, which is a big hiccup of like, what the hell are you doing? But this offseason was an aggressive offseason. I feel like you can't say it wasn't.
There's a lot of hope, man.
And it was great. It was like, oh my God, like the Yankees are scared. We're knocking on the door. So like he had a great offseason, and then we come into this year and he has.
I don't think the Yankees were scared.
I don't think the Yankees are scared at all. I'm not saying that. But that was kind of the excitement that people had.
You said
that's what the excitement that people had in the offseason. But with that, those three players, I think getting rid of Devers is just letting people know, like, this is how things are going to be around here.
These are the expectations.
If you're not about it, then you're gone. The other piece as well is offloading Devers, not paying him all that money. You signed Campbell to an 8-year contract where he's on the Sox until 2033, 34, whatever. If you then sign Roman Anthony, who hit his first bomb yesterday after you trade Devers.
First of 600.
If you sign Roman Anthony, if you sign Marcelo Meyer, and you commit to, hey, there's a new man running this whole entire organization, and I'm investing in the actual future, I think you turn things around a little bit. I think if you make the playoffs, you turn things around a little bit. You're on a 7-game win streak, obviously 6 of those with Devers, but the bus is moving, and you have 3 players that are top 15 prospects coming in this year. So, and then promising too. Campbell's hasn't been playing well recently, but Meyer Roman Anthony have been looking great. So
Roman Anthony
positives coming out of this.
This was the other, to go back to the negative side of this really quickly, because that's where I go. Roman Anthony committed an error the other day, and it was the Red Sox lead the league
one in the right
errors.
field.
Yes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So
that was his first game.
Traditionally under Cora, when they want to work on a player, like their fundamentals and how they're fielding, and they want to kind of correct something, and they want to go work on it during the season, they do that behind closed doors. It's not open to the media. And they opened it up to the media the other day. And the read from, and I do think this is hilarious that these guys think they know, like Cora didn't come out and say this, but this guy writes an article for Yahoo and says the thinking behind it was Cora's pissed that the young guys are playing. He wants to play older guys. And Roman Anthony commits an error, and so he kind of wants to embarrass him by making him go out and field in front of the media. And if that's the case, I like Alex Cora. He's been a really good manager. Have fun. Go coach the Marlins, bro.
I think he's gone. I do think he's gone.
Go be the manager of the Marlins or wherever you want to go. You'll probably get a great gig, and that's great. And I hope you do well. And maybe you're just built to have more of a whatever team. And I don't know if that's the case. I mean, it seems like this guy's just kind of making an assumption. It doesn't seem like he's got solid reporting on that. But he's like, well, usually they don't do it, so now they're doing it, and maybe it's because and the reporting is that Breslow did not tell Cora that he was going to make this move because he knew Cora was going to try and talk him out of it.
Yeah, I think Cora's gone for sure.
Which is fine. If Cora wants to talk him out of the trade, I get that. Cora has every right to have a voice in like player decisions in terms of personnel. He doesn't get to make the decisions, but he should have a voice. But if he's trying to make a point to the front office about, hey, I'm going to look at what I have to teach these kids now. I have to show them how to do basic fielding drills because you're making me play guys that should be developing in the minor leagues. Bye-bye. See you later. Because this team is now... They still want to compete for a playoff spot, and they keep saying that and all that. That's great, and I still want to see them do that. But this team is now a young team looking to go in a different direction. By the way, Bregman can opt out after this year.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't, man. I mean, that would be
I hope he
bad.
doesn't, and I mean, I think we're in the day and age where social media means a lot from, like, because Red Sox put out pictures all day, every day. Every picture is Bregman, Roman Anthony, Bregman, Campbell. Like when Campbell first came over to the Red Sox, Bregman, Campbell, Bregman, Marcelo Meyer. Like he is always with those dudes. So, I mean, I hope that he doesn't opt out and he's more along the lines of like, hey, this is my team and I'm excited to kind of help these dudes grow. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. If you make the playoffs this year, it's a successful season.
All right, I just gotta say it. I did this. I knew I was going to do this. Every time I say something, I should know better about what comes out of my mouth. Brad Marchand has 10 goals and 10 assists in 22 playoff games with the Panthers. 10 goals, and he has 20 points in 22 games. He is just the 7th player in NHL history to have 5 or more goals in multiple Stanley Cup finals. This is making me sick. His 6 goals are the most in the Stanley Cup final for any player 35 or older. His 5 goals on the road are the most in any Stanley Cup final since Jack Adams of the Vancouver Millionaires scored 6 in 1922. You guys remember Jack Adams?
The Jack Adams Award.
Yeah, Jack Adams, man. Just skating around like a madman out there for the Millionaires.
Yeah.
There was probably 3 teams in the league, bro. I'm not sure they had TV back then. Did they have TV in 1922?
I don't even know what that is.
No one knows who it is, Ty. You act like we were... Dude, do you think we know who it is? It's 1922, bro.
I thought you guys would. I don't know.
Shut up.
I didn't even know
the history of hockey.
Vancouver had a team called the Millionaires.
He's also the first player to score at least 5 goals in 2 separate Stanley Cup finals with 2 different teams. Boston.
Look at this guy. He looks like he was part of the Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, that guy could skate.
Yeah, that guy was an assassin.
I want to know what his skill set was so I can make a chill build right after Jack Adams. But he's gonna. Dude, he might win the Conn Smythe. Are we like?
He's not going to win the Conn Smythe.
Why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he?
Because Big Game Bob's going to win it.
Well, no, because Connor McDavid has 33 points in 22 games. Leon Draisaitl has 33 points in 22 games.
Yeah, but I'm not sure they're going to do it again. I'm not sure they're going to do it again, Matt. Do you think Connor McDavid 2 years on the losing team? Do you think he's going to get it 2 years in a row on a losing team?
Well, It depends how tonight goes. It depends on what he does to be effective. But I mean,
if Marchand scores the overtime winner tonight, it's like he's the Conn Smythe winner, right?
He's much more in the conversation than he is now. I would argue that Sam Bennett would be a Conn Smythe winner over Brad Marchand.
What's Sam Bennett have?
Sam Bennett has
the dirty bastard.
Sam Bennett, where are you? He's got 15 goals and 22 points. So he has more points than Brad Marchand.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I always lead towards
does it bother
goalies usually win the Conn Smythe, but Bob's been good, but he hasn't been otherworldly. And there's been a lot once again, the Oilers goalies once again have let them down. If they could just get an above average goalie to stay around.
Do you think they should go back to Skinner? Do you think they should go back to Skinner for 6?
I honestly think that it doesn't matter. The goaltending should not be the issue tonight. It should be the offense of the Oilers, and their defense needs to be shut down. So, this game should not come down to Skinner or Picard. It should come down to whether the offense can produce.
Yeah. Just so, again, to be clear, we're talking about this on
Tuesday
night. This is going to come out Wednesday morning. So
Stanley Cup is in the building.
Yeah, if they already played the game, bro, what are they talking about? Calm down. This is how this is what we have to do. I need to get out my Marchand business because it's breaking my heart. Now that I've said it, by the way, I'm not sure. How does this work? Because I don't want it to. I think because I don't want it to happen, it happens, right? That's how it works, right?
Yeah, double reverse jinx.
That's how it works.
Or do I jinx or am I jinxing Brad Marchand by saying it, and now he won't? I don't know. I think because I want him to not win it, he'll win it. I think that's how it works.
He's not going to win it. I will be happy to make a bet with you that Brad Marchand, even if he scores the overtime winner tonight, does not win the Conn Smythe.
See, then we're in a real paradox. We're in a real another dimension thing because I lose every bet. So we risk the world ending if I bet on this because I lose every bet. Then I already know so maybe I should make the bet. Now my mind's scrambled. If I make the bet, then I know he won't get it.
We're getting the Inception levels of reverse jinxes.
This is, for those at home who aren't following along, that makes sense because this is real confusing. Anyways, U.S. Open, good or bad? Was the U.S. Open good or bad?
Both.
Yeah, I would say both.
So let's start off with the bad. The USGA did not manage the weather and the course well, right? We could say that, right? I mean, our guy Sam Burns, I don't even know who Sam Burns is. He might be the worst guy in the thing. I'd never really even heard of Sam Burns, but they did him dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, they did him dirty. I was like, well, you got to play it. You're whatever. It's like, well, you read the rules, and it's the rules there. And what I'm hearing from other golf analysts were like, no, dude, you don't. That is absolutely not a shot that he has to take. So he is, and who knows what happens. That's what sucks about it. JJ Spawn still probably wins it, right? And it's a great
Insane
story.
Putt too.
JJ Spawn, we'll get into that in a second, but JJ Spawn, great story of him winning the U.S. Open. But now it's overshadowed by the idiots at the USGA who made this guy who was tied for the lead take a shot that was gross. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of it, but I'm luckily turned it on just before the rain hit. And it was wild. They were like, oh, it's coming down a little bit. And the next thing you know, I mean, there were puddles. I mean, massive puddles on the course. And my assumption was they would finish up Monday morning, which they've done before. Golf tournaments finish up on Monday. It's not out of the question. I know it's not great for TV and all that stuff. It doesn't happen all that often, but they do it because it's the integrity of the game. And the fact that they made those guys finish to me was wild. Thoughts?
I totally agree. It's all TV. They did not want to have a Monday. I was like, they should have just called it whenever that storm happened, and then let them play the rest of the was it the 7th hole that that the leaders were on? They should have canceled it then because you were trying to jam it in before the darkness came. Because what you don't want to do is have 3 shots that you have to play before darkness comes in.
That sounded weird. Jamming in before the darkness came. I don't know. I feel like we're walking a line there. It always gets squirrely at the end with you, also.
But yeah, I don't care that the condition of the course. If you're gonna have 5-inch rough, have 5-inch rough. Everybody's playing the same course, so that's fine.
I was just
bummed that there are no good names in the finals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sucks too.
Yeah, I didn't know who to root for because I didn't know any of these guys.
I got to give you credit about something. But I want to ask you something. So the first thing I want to ask both of you is that I tried to Google it to see, because you are playing the same course, how many other golfers were offered relief in shots that were in water? Do we know? I couldn't figure that out. So it could be, that number could be 0, it could be 10. If that number's 10, then we really have a problem. If they made everyone play everything, if like no one got any kind of relief from the officials, then it is what it is. Yeah. I don't think it was the right decision, but I'm more okay with it because that was just the way they decided they were going to handle it.
At least they were consistent.
But if a guy who was in third or in fourth walks up to an official and says, look, this is temporary water here. I feel like it's affecting my lie. I feel like it's affecting my shot. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can take a drop. Then we have a problem. Then there's an issue, right? So that's the thing. But I have to give you credit. After the Masters, I was, again, this is me, right? Just never peacock, Steve. Never get excited or think that you know something, my man, because you will ruin it. And Rory McIlroy, I am so sorry. I have ruined your career. I have ruined it. Yep. Tyler, you said the same thing, though. After the Masters, we're like, man, he's got over that hump. My man's about to go on a run. This is going to be great. Him and Scotty Scheffler are going to be battling. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he would play with no worries or anything.
He's lost. And I don't know if he... I know there was another golfer who, like, ruined the locker room, apparently. That happened, I think.
Yeah,
Wyndham Clark.
That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing.
He's the one that whipped the driver at the billboard behind and like broke his driver and then like flung it and almost hit a volunteer at the was that the PGA? It might have been at the PGA.
Yeah,
we need to get him in anger management, man. I mean, you can't be acting like a rock band going in the locker room after and just tearing the place apart. I saw pictures and I don't know if they're real or not because nothing's real on the internet anymore, but it looked bad. But Rory looks lost. He's lost, right? I mean, he is just... Did he even make the cut?
He did, because I bet him not to make the cut, and he made the cut.
Oh, yeah. See? Don't gamble, folks.
Did you see his one club toss? So he had
that was awesome. That was pretty cool.
Through it, but then the one that came off the bag, that was pretty cool.
I love the reaction. And he was and they just played it off like I meant to do that. I was like, that's pretty tight. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, I was actually okay with that. I was like, oh, okay, you're still human. You're still human. But JJ Spawn, it's Father's Day. He wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You hear the story? His daughter's throwing up. His daughter's throwing up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes to CVS, dude. He's about to have the day of his life. And it starts with him at 3 o'clock in the morning going to a 24-hour CVS to get medication for his sick daughter on Father's Day. That's amazing. And then was it 62? It might as well have been a 300-yard putt. It was like, what was it, 62 yards? I mean, 62 feet?
I'm not sure.
It was something.
64 and a half.
I've seen.
64 and a half.
Gross.
And he was up 2 strokes, so I think that does help you, right? You're like, oh.
No, he was only up 1 stroke. He had 2 putts to win. He had a 2 putt to win.
Okay, 2 putts to win. And the story is that he claims that he did not look at the leaderboard because he was not interested in any of that business. He was like, I don't want to go in there with the mindset if I 2-putt because then you start to think about 2-putting. Right. And he buries it. It was freaking awesome. His reaction, I mean, it's like Tyler's hot takes, man. Like, we're looking for a little more there. We're looking for a little more in the reaction.
He's probably exhausted.
Ty, what's your hot take? Haliburton should have played.
What I think is amazing is he was going into that round with a lead, right? And he comes out and goes 5 over in 6 holes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's 5 over in 6 holes. So he's like, I just played myself out of the tournament. And then he just stayed with it and battled back, and everybody else came back to him. It was pretty impressive.
When you look at the rough and you look at the weather, the article I was reading about Burns was like he was still in it because there was bogeys everywhere. Everyone was like just trying to negotiate this just absolute monster of a situation. I did like a lot of the golfers. I forget who it was I saw, but I saw a few of the golfers like that was ridiculous, like blah blah blah, and then they were like congratulations JJ, way to figure it out, or congratulations JJ. So a lot of guys were like going out of their way to be like that sucked and it shouldn't really have gone down that way, but at the same time, good for you. Like we all had to deal with it, and JJ figured out a way to do it, and it's really cool. I think we don't love it. I'll be honest with you, Matt. I don't love it. Like, I want to see Scotty in there. I want to see the names. I want to see Bryson. Tyler's like fanboy guy.
Well, I also want to see. I want to see eagles. I want to see birdies. I want to see insane shots. And
Beautiful
I don't want to see my golf. I don't want to see a guy in the rough duff it into the other side of the rough, only to miss the green and then chip across it. I was like, I see that all the time personally. Yeah. I don't need to see it professionally.
If you guys want to see that, you should just come over on Thursday. We'll show you that.
Yeah, exactly. I do have a hot take though. Is that
don't slow down, guy. Don't get your blood pressure up.
I could care less about that dude wanting relief on that. Hit the ball, dude. Like, everybody's playing in terrible conditions, and I honestly think he would have had a better shot if he wasn't such a baby about it. Because right as he makes contact, he's immediately like, dude, just lock in and hit the ball. Like, I think he mentally put into his head of like, this sucks. If I duff this shot, it's their fault. Like, put himself in a bad position mentally when he could have gone into it like, I'm going to hit a sick shot here. Like, it is what it is, dude. You got turned down twice.
So a couple things here. One, we'll handle the old white guy takes, okay? And that is like,
I don't think that's an old white guy take, though.
Dude, that is our wheelhouse.
I don't think
that is a wheelhouse of an old white guy take. Dude, just go out and do it.
I don't think that's an old white guy take, at all.
I think
that's more of a progressive golf view. Where if you have a bad lie, just hit the goddamn ball. Do something cool.
I don't even know what we're doing anymore. What is a progressive golf view?
Something that's more entertaining than a normal golf where it's, oh, well, my shoes are getting a little wet here in the fairway. Dude, I need to move this ball. Like, no, hit the damn ball.
You have had all old white guy takes today. It's like,
how is that an old white guy take?
It's a definition
an old white guy take with golf is that should be a relief.
No.
That is an old white guy take. Yes,
old white guys always say, rub some dirt on it, figure it out, man.
Plays it live.
In other sports, not in golf.
Oh, man. No, they'll do it with golf, too.
And
I will say this.
Either way, the whole golf world is, like, crying for this guy. And I know some of them are, like,
I would genuinely agree with you.
By JJ. But at the same time, like, dude, you made contact with a ball, and you were already complaining. Like, you could tell when he lined up to that ball, he was going to complain about it and be a little baby. Like, just hit the damn ball, dude. Yeah, he has two officials. Sorry, dude. Sucks to suck. like, move on. Like,
would you have made that shot?
Hell, dude, no. I'm like an 18 handicap. But at the same time, like, come play my courses. Like, that's a daily occurrence. It's 90 degrees and you're still hitting out of a puddle in Derry, New Hampshire. Like, come play Hoodcroft, dude.
Yeah, you think that stuff. Come play Hoodcroft, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come play our courses. Come play Passaconaway.
Once you play over those human remains at Hoodcroft, you're all good. What are we?
Come play Leo J in Boston, where you have homeless people living in the fairway. Like, come play Leo J.
Dude, real careful. You're turning into an old white guy right in front of our eyes.
I'm just
talking
saying,
about homeless people now.
Like,
sunburns.
Sunburn. All of a sudden, you're getting sunburns. You were in Maine. You went to Maine.
I know. But like,
dude, slept on the beach in Maine. Come on.
Yeah.
But like, we're complaining about the U.S. Open when, like, that's literally a normal New England course. Like, get over it.
You're such an old timer.
Get over it,
England, dude. Next thing, I'm gonna ask you, like, for directions next weekend. You're like, can't get that from here. What are you drinking?
Coca-Cola.
Oh God.
Zero sugar,
dude.
right?
You kidding
me?
Coke last week it was Celsius. Now you're having Coca-Cola. So now you're gonna have some bourbon as a nightcap. I don't even know who you are anymore, dude.
We'll have some Earl Grey tea.
Yeah.
I almost had a long drink, but I don't know if that'll be a little aggressive for the pod. But
I don't know if we're allowed to do that. Are we allowed to do that? I wouldn't.
I don't know. I think we call the shots, so I don't know.
I think you can, because I think you can. No, I wouldn't care.
I'm at home.
Actually, you might be a little more.
We don't have any sponsors to piss off.
You might be a little more
entertaining. Yeah. I will say.
Maybe we'll just that's something to think about for the next one. All right, next week, big show. McShay's coming on. We're talking about draft day. Again, I'm not going to even go a terrible movie, just a terrible movie. But
terribly terrific.
It would be fun to make fun. I love terrible movies. You kidding me? They're awesome. Yep. You can find us on YouTube, Screen the Screener. You can find us on Spotify, Screen the Screener. On TikTok, Screen the Screener. Ty, what's the personal TikToks, and do you guys have X?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Ty Bestman 14 on X, and personal TikTok, I think just Ty Bestman 1.
Oh God, it's Besman, Behsman. Maybe we should try and make them look the same because it would be easier for people. You're like, honestly,
I did Ty Bestman 14 when I was a sophomore in high school, and I was number 14.
You know what you're not now? A sophomore in high school.
Sure.
You are really good at marketing. I've seen Tyler's putting out this new hat company, the Blank Hat Company. The marketing for Blank Hat is kicking the crap out of the marketing for Screen the Screener, man. I'm just saying it.
We have news when it comes to Blank Hat, but can't announce that just yet.
Can't announce it yet. Something to look
Can't
forward
announce
to?
it yet, but we do have some.
All right, Matt. What's your? Do you have X?
I left X. Everything's either Buckminster 19 or I think my TikTok is Virgie Descrena.
Yeah.
You guys, listen to me. You cannot be worse at social media than I am. I am the worst. I'm at you, Goodmensch, Munch. We need to work on this. Like we've got to figure it out because the social media stuff's the key for us. Yeah, that's about it, right? No Blank Hat like no, you don't want to spill the secret now.
Nah, I can't spill it just yet. But
is it more attractive young women wearing your hats everywhere?
It will be. It pretty much will be. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week.
Wait, I saw the guy today with his shirt off today with the 6-pack. You sure you don't want Steve and I wearing our hats with no shirts?
Yeah. I would love for you guys to do that. I would love that.
No, there's
probably go viral for the wrong reasons.
I love the Blank Hat. Like I do really like the marketing. It's a bunch of pictures of like young, attractive people wearing the hat, and then my pasty ass on McShay's pod wearing the hat. Like, something here doesn't really add up. So, all right, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
Go Oilers!